I want to talk about emotions and trauma that women can hold in their womb space and pelvic floor.
Yeah, great question. So our womb space and our pelvic floor is really where we hold most of our trauma, generally speaking, especially anything having to do with abuse and sex. And, in general, like our body takes on all of the experiences that we've had, all of our joy, all of our sadness, all of our anger, all of our fear. We hold it in our body. And when trauma happens, regardless of what type of trauma happens, if you experience, it gets trapped somewhere in your body. For a lot of women, it gets trapped in their pelvic area. So like when I work with women and we're doing like a body scan, like noticing where are you feeling sensation in your body as you breathe, or even if you imagine or draw parts of your body that feel, oh, this is a place I can really accept, and this is a place I don't. There's often a lot of blockages in the pelvic area, which in the Tantra world would be called the second chakra. In the pelvic space, right? Because, that is our center. I believe very strongly, like our womb is our center of creativity and power, but it's also the place where we hold a lot of our trauma and the trapped energy. And that's a very, very common experience. And so that is where women get shut down, right? Where they literally numb out and have no sensation on their genitals. Very common for women who have experienced trauma and abuse.
So what do you do when you're working with a woman and you find that to be the case? Are you doing a process where you're releasing some of that trauma and opening that chakra up, or?
More and more, I mean, excuse me, I'm a somatic experiencing practitioner, a trauma practitioner. And in that world of Peter Levine's world, where we look at trauma being really trapped in the body, what we're looking at is a very gradual release of the places where where that trauma is trapped. So if you think about, I don't know if you've ever seen this, but an animal that gets, cornered, right? Exactly. Yeah, you just did it, right? It gets cornered, right? And goes into like a freeze state, right? When it escapes from that freeze, it shakes out. It shakes out all of the energy, all of that trapped energy, right? And in somatic experiencing, we help our clients do that very gradually in a titrated way, start to release a little bit of that energy. And that might feel like heat coming through, or it might feel like a little shaking, or it might feel like a lot of belching or burping, right? All of that is the release of trapped energy. So that's more the way that I work with it. I also I do some meditations with women around their body and around their pelvic area and their genitals. I call it a yoni meditation. So have you heard that word before? Yoni? Yeah.
Yep.
So just for your listeners, yoni is the Sanskrit word for a woman's vulva, basically, and womb space. And so really taking them through a little bit of a process of just imagining that some of that energy is releasing and having some forgiveness. There's so much we hold, anger, self-judgment, like all of that, when we've experienced trauma, any type of trauma, whether it's sexual trauma, physical abuse, visual abuse, right? Verbal abuse, emotional abuse, all of it like gets stored inside of us. It's a process, it takes some time. The unwinding process needs to go rather slowly so that the nervous system can learn how to regulate itself.
Sure.
Can there be something held in the body, even if it's not specific trauma, like if it's just, maybe societal conditioning? Like I'm thinking of, say if there are women listening who are like, I wasn't abused. I wasn't traumatized as a child. I haven't had any specific, excuse me, I haven't had any specific situation that immediately comes to mind. I've just been conditioned as a woman in patriarchy to not like sex, to not
Yes.
initiate sex, to not find joy in my body, to definitely not find joy in sex or my own sexual life or sexual being. So
Yeah.
what about women who are in that situation?
I think that's every woman, right?
Yeah.
Like, we all have what I call a sexual blueprint, and those are the messages that we received around sex and around intimacy as a child and as we started to mature into adulthood. And those are the messages that we bring in to our relationships, right? And so that is a huge issue for women. There, all of the messages, especially if you grew up in any type of religious background, right? There's so much shaming for women around sex. If you enjoyed sex and you weren't a virgin, and all of the ways in which women are conditioned, and ways in which women are conditioned not to be able to ask for what they want, ways in which women are conditioned to feel like it's their obligation to please their male partner, and that they don't actually get to have pleasure. I could go on, but yes, absolutely. Every single woman, we all deal with that. And those are, a lot of those, I like to say, those are false beliefs, but they don't have to be our beliefs. They were beliefs that were, forced upon us, if you will, by the church, by society, by our cultural upbringing, by our parents, right? We can release those beliefs and rewrite those stories. Absolutely.
I think it was on your website, maybe it was on your Instagram, but you said we have a lot of false beliefs, like our vagina is broken. Explain that one.
I wrote a blog post about this. Well, I think what I meant by that is a lot of women do feel like their vagina is broken, right?
Sure.
Because they're not feeling horny anymore. They're not, especially as we age and go into midlife, like our hormones drop. We don't feel desire anymore. Many women don't experience satisfaction through intercourse, right? And I think when I say our vagina is broken, I think that's women's thoughts, right? Like, I don't think our vagina is broken. I think our vaginas are perfect, right? And yeah, sometimes they need help. Right. And there are people who can help with that. But there's a way in which, when there's a problem, women tend to blame it on themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Like, oh, this is my fault. There's something wrong. How many women come in and tell me this is my fault? There's something wrong with me. This is something that I did. I can't orgasm during sex. And I'm like, I can't orgasm during sex. It's not your problem. Right. Like, so I think that's like another, like a belief that we have, a way in which we've been conditioned to like make it our fault, when it takes two to tango, always. Yeah.
And also, I think you said a women of a certain age. I think with the whole perimenopause and menopause symptoms, not symptoms, all the stuff that's going on, maybe we've been told or taught, or we think that that should decrease our libido.
Yes. I mean, that's a huge myth, Jennifer, right? Like, I think that's one of the things I like to say is, for a lot of women, the majority of whom are having really bad sex or not having sex, right? Because the number of couples in sexless marriages is very, very high and extraordinarily underreported. Menopause becomes the excuse.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
I can't do it anymore. I'm dried up. It doesn't feel good. I'm not horny anymore. Just watch your porn, take care of yourself. I'm good.
Right.
And then you see these same women who, like, I don't know, maybe they end up in a new relationship. And all of a sudden they're like, fucking like rabbits, right? Like, right. And I'm like, you're in menopause. Yeah, I know. But all of a sudden my libido came back. I'm like, right. Wasn't menopause.
It wasn't broken.
It wasn't broken, right? And that's not to say there aren't real things that happen. Yes, our estrogen drops, right? Yes, our testosterone levels drop. Like all of that does affect us. Yes, there's less lubrication, but especially now, there are ways to deal with it, right? There's a lot of different ways. to deal with hormonal changes. And I think the medical community is getting more open to helping women, be on HRT at much earlier ages.
That's true.
And that's actually really important as well. So, but most of the time it's just they're having bad sex.
And life is too short for bad sex.
It's too short for bad sex.
That's true. Yeah.
If women are having bad sex, then my thought is, who exactly needs to be educated here?
Both. Everybody needs to be educated, right?
Exactly.
Everybody